Where's the breakdown here? You think people were so just consumed by the energy of Plattner that they looked past a lot of important things?
I think that's right. I mean, I think Graham Plattner has always kind of been, for me at least, a Rorschach test for the level of scumbaggery that Democratic voters will tolerate from their nominee. And I think at a time when you're seeing, so many like major transgressions from the president of the United States, somewhat more minor transgressions like, a tattoo that he may have gotten at while he was drunk, or
well, I mean, the Nazi tattoos are problematic.
Yeah. All of them, but all of them isolated, as you said earlier, all of them isolated in themselves. Maybe there's an explanation for the Reddit post. Maybe there's an explanation for the tattoo, but all of it, the total tonnage of his transgressions makes it something that Democrats can't ignore. And this in particular is so appalling and so disgusting that, if he really truly cares about beating Susan Collins, he would drop out right now, because every single day that he remains in this race is a disservice to the party, as we're trying, desperately to field a new candidate to take on Susan Collins, who has shown some pretty good staying power within her ranks.
Mm-hmm. I just want to throw this fact on the table, and then y'all take it. But the folks who Graham Plattner was recruited. And he was not recruited by the Democratic Party. He was recruited by two folks, Leanne and Dan, okay?
Thank you.
Who used to work for Senator Sanders in 2020, and they have gone around the country recruiting candidates to run for offices, and unlikely candidates, as you noted. Dan Osborne in Nebraska is one of the folks that they recruited. Everybody they've recruited has not been a dud, if you will. Mm-hmm. So, I'll give them that. But what they did is they swooped into Maine, okay, and thought that they knew better than the people in Maine, and that they fielded all of these different people. They looked through, they said hundreds of candidates, and they found this video of Graham Plattner, and they were like, this is the guy. He looks like this is the guy. His story is it. They vetted him just a little bit. The firm came back and gave some stuff that has been found out the firm did not know. But the people that lambast, I would just say, as someone that had, prior to this, spent my life doing campaign work as a professional political staffer, the people who lambast professional political staffers, I think, might need to take a step back. Because a professional political staffer would have had a communications crisis plan. A professional staffer would have done a SWOT analysis. A professional staffer, somebody who had been in the game for a while, would have said, we got to ask some locals. So I do just think that there is this idea that, the establishment was going to pick a candidate, so one rose up from the dirt. No, baby. Graham Plattner was served up on a platter.
Yeah, I like that. You're right. So I'll let you chew on that.
I mean, again, who knows?
But I do want to put a fine point it real quick. Is that we need to be very clear to Simone's point about how candidates arrive into this nomination space. When I became RNC chairman, the nominee for the Delaware senatorial race had already been selected, and they had identified a woman named Christine O'Donnell, and everyone thought, this young, fresh, woman, white lady coming out against this old white man, because that's how Republicans figure. They just transition. They just do this thing. Well, she had a whole kind of like coven thing she had to work through.
I'm not a witch.
I'm not a witch.
Said that in the ad, folks.
And so what it speaks to is the level of controls that parties exert and play in the nominating process. There have been candidates when I was county chairman, state chairman, and even national chairman that I sat in a room and said, baby, this is not your race, it's not happening. And if you go out and decide you're going to run, I will eat you alive, right? So you draw those lines. Clearly, to Simone's point, that was not the case here.
Boy, it's Tuesday night, but it feels like Sunday. Simone has taken us to church here, and there's some truth to that. Right. This was something of a myth of this oyster farmer, and a lot of Democrats and maybe even progressives thought they had a pearl. They had a bad oyster. They had red tide, and it was starting to make the rest of the party sick. And a lot of this guy's story started crumbling. And it's not just his positions or his personal life story, but some of this egregious behavior that is, again, wildly out of balance that everyone should rightly reject. And now you have a zombie candidate right now that unclear, maybe if, but rather when he drops out. But What happens after that? And I think that's going to continue to be a problem in Maine as to who do they put up next? How do they have a vetting process? The fault lines might be widened. And as you talk about the Senate map, the path the majority may have gotten a little
more important.
But to your point, listen, if you are full of righteous condemnation right now from a political perspective, boy, you better find a mirror, because both parties do not cover themselves in glory each and every cycle.